All right, ready?
Ready.
Oh, not really.
Okay, so what are the three main countries that explored the world?
America.
Portuguese, Spain, and somebody else.
Okay, so what are they doing at home then? Good question. That's what we're gonna learn,
They're
right? So,
refining the raw material into.
yeah. Right.
Exporting.
So we got the English, the French are gonna be important, and
Saturday night.
then the Spanish, of course. And the first person we're gonna talk about is
Not by your house.
you can't see that, so I'm gonna turn off the light.
And then like something you have by your house.
King Philip II.
Like on the
He's going to be the king of Portugal and Spain. Spain, he's talking to somebody, I don't know. King of Spain from 1556 to 1598. He's also going to be the king of Portugal from 81 till 98.
You should just go do
He's also going to be the co-monarch of England for a time when he's married to his first wife. And I'll show you the territory in which he inherits when he becomes king. It's a pretty large empire. Let's get all that down. He's also gonna inherit the Netherlands, which is a large Protestant region. King Philip, obviously being Spanish, is gonna be Catholic. They actually call him a Catholic king because he was so Catholic. It wasn't as brutal as some of the English, Catholics, but. Yeah, mostly. And he built up a large Spanish navy to kind of control his European holdings. We're going to talk about the Spanish Armada anyway. Is everybody ready? Okay. This is Philip II. He's got a pretty sweet hat on. Bring it back. And this is the territory he inherited when he became king. Spain, the Netherlands, and then South Italy. And the Netherlands is going to give him a bunch of heck with their uprisings, and they're wanting to be independent from Spain. Spain's going to make a ton of money off the Netherlands because of the Dutch Indian trade companies. So that's why it's important. It's not just because it's pretty or something. So, English Protestantism. Queen Elizabeth I, who is Anne Boleyn's daughter and Henry VIII's daughter. Did he kill Anne Boleyn or not?
Yeah.
Or is that too long ago? Killed her, for sure. She's going to reign for 44 years, and she's not going to have any kids and not going to get married. So she lives the good life. And she's obviously Protestant, unlike her dad, unofficial leader of the Protestant nations. And then she's going to support Henry the IV of France when he becomes king later in the 1500s. And then of course, Catholic Ireland is going to always be a thorn in the English side, still is today, with the IRA and other things. She's pretty mellow. She doesn't, kill Catholics at the stake or anything, like her predecessors, but. Basically, her only thing was she tried to keep Spain and France kind of on the same playing field. So if one would get more powerful, she'd knock down the other one, knock that one down. So they're all on an even playing field between these three. So. Her and Philip II are going to get in big disputes over what to do with France, because France is in civil war. We'll talk about that. Shay went to the council.
Okay.
Good. Yes. Okay, here's Queen Elizabeth II. See, she looks all youthful because she never got married or had kids, so. Okay, so at the same time with King Philip II gaining power and Queen Elizabeth I coming into power, the French is in civil war, basically over religion though, much like all of Europe. So there's two sides, the Catholics and then the Huguenots. Yeah. They're going to be French Protestants. They're a small percentage of the total population, but they're a large percentage of the nobility. So they're going to have a lot of power, but they don't represent a lot of people. Why would this be important in terms of that? Bueller? Okay, so the French Civil War is going to end in 1589, and Henry IV is going to assume power. He's a Huguenot, so he only represents 7% of the population, but 50% of the nobility. That's going to raise all sorts of stuff. Actually, the Civil War doesn't end for another 8-9 years, so he's actually going to convert to Catholicism from Protestantism to kind of appeal to people. Kind of get on their good graces so he doesn't get hung, killed, shamed. He's going to produce an Edict of Nantes. That makes Catholicism the official religion of France, and it also guarantees that Protestants have freedom to worship, won't be persecuted, stuff like that, much like, kind of like the First Amendment, without the whole making the church official religion. It also made him able to hold public office. Anybody could then. So, kind of opened the doors to all people. Good, not good, good.
No, just say.
Okay. Okay. Prepare to be amazed by Henry and his sweet goatee. That's what I was going for. That's why I didn't show it. Flip back hair. Fresh.
In fifth period, we finally did those collars that never filter collar. Car. Yeah.
He knows.
I thought it was fifth period or sixth period.
They
Ah.
Somebody in here
Liar.
said that.
It was me.
Alright, so Spanish Armada. King Philip's going to develop a large navy, 130 ships, kind of intimidate everyone else in Europe. England doesn't even, can't even match that at the time. So the English are going to attack the Spanish fleet in 1587 in the Caribbean, kind of antagonize them, kind of colonial wars, if you will. So Philip's main purpose was he wanted to invade England, which who's invaded England? Nobody. So it was a terrible idea, terrible execution too, as we'll see when I get to the map. Because of her influence of French politics, obviously King Philip wants France to be a Catholic nation, and then of course Queen Elizabeth is going to support Henry, who is going to flip-flop, of course. You should run for office here. This is in September of 1588, to give some relevance. So it's at the end of Philip and Queen Elizabeth's time. And they call it the Battle of Grave Lines, however you want to say it. The Spanish are going to lose 51 ships just to storms alone. And only, they have really bad luck. Also, the English have a much faster ship, as we'll get to see. Their technology is leaps and bounds past what the Spanish is at the times. And over 20,000 Spaniards will lose their lives. Spanish.
I'm in.
Should we leave these if you're?
Yes, I know.
And the people of England, when this was going on, were freaking out that they were going to get invaded and have to lay allegiance to Philip, which I can understand. But Queen Elizabeth kind of saves the day. She kind of comes out on top. So. Good? Good? Okay, here's kind of a painting of the battle. These are Spaniards down here, of course, losing. They're pretty massive ships. That was a lot bigger picture, but. So the Spanish are gonna leave, and they're gonna go through the English Channel where the actual battle occurs, and they're gonna get, they're gonna lose some ships during that time, but they're actually gonna retreat around and down into the actual ocean itself, past Scotland and Ireland, and that's where most of your storm. It's terrible maritime conditions, and that's where most of their ships are going to crash into rocks and stuff. And they're going to tuck their tail and run. So, the English, like I said, have much better ship technology. They developed a dreadnought, which is basically a ship that has
Sorry.
three or more masts, and there's big square, trapezoid-looking masts. And this is able to catch the wind and make them go faster. And then, since they can go faster, they can carry more weight. They said most dreadnoughts had 30 or more guns, heavy guns, a lot better than the Spanish. Spanish ships only had smaller guns. So. And typical naval battles would, before the dreadnought and everything was released, they would have to get close to each other and board each other with, pirate-looking stuff and swords and whatnot. This made it possible to actually shoot further, so they could hit them before they have to get close. And that was kind of the Spanish's downfall. They were using old technology against new technology, and they got rocked by it. So, and after the Spanish Armada is defeated, this is going to allow the English to kind of rule the seas until arguably the 20th century. So 400 years? 400 years of the English ruling the seas. And this will allow the English to expand their empire in the next centuries. 1900s, they're actually going to release
Yeah.
a Dreadnought 2, which is going to be the fastest ship of that time, too. 1906, 1907.
Okay,
This will be a lot like the German ships that will follow it.
okay. Yeah, let's give him some rest too. You know, I think that's what I'm more concerned about is, yeah, him resting his body. So, yeah, let's have it a no-go, and that way too, you know, he misses school today, he can get kind of caught up tomorrow too, so. Well, I appreciate the call. Yeah, you too. Sorry, was I loud?
No, no. Ready? Okay, so there's a Dreadnought in there somewhere. I found it earlier, but that was at 1 o'clock this morning, so. So this is another painting of the battle. It was a lot darker on my computer, of course. As you can see, they're trying to get close. Okay, so got some review questions for you. I'll just jot them down in your notes. I actually gave you the last one, so you don't have to work that hard. You probably can't read that, huh?
You look real hard. It's an E.
What?
It's an E.
That's what I was. Good luck for you. Yeah. Eyes. So, what did the Edict of Nantes do? That was the Henry the Fourth.
Made Catholicism the official religion of France.
Okay, good. What is a Huguenot, and what is their importance in the French Civil War, religious war?
Something that made the ship go faster and be.
They're French Protestants.
Yeah, of course Morgan's right. And why was the Spanish Armada defeated?
Storms.
Yeah. Either of those is acceptable. Why did King Philip II send the Armada to invade England?
Overthrow Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay, and why? Because of her influence in the French Revolution, or French Civil War?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then I gave you the last one, so. So, that's all I got. Do the guiders reading.
I don't, but they can do is read the section.
Okay. So if you guys just want to read section 1 in your book.
I could actually go make copies.
Chapter 14, section 1.
It's last.